A lot of people think that in order to invest in real estate, you need a lot of money, but that couldn't be further from the truth. I've made thousands of dollars flipping homes with none of my own money. And by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly how I do it, what the process is like, and how you can do it yourself. If you're new to the channel, my name's Justin You're Wrong. I'm a real estate investor and entrepreneur here in Las Vegas. I've made hundreds of videos teaching people about real estate, money, and self-development. And the goal of this channel is to help you grow your money and your mindset. Also, if you don't already, follow me on Instagram at Justin You're Wrong. One of the ways I buy homes with none of my own money is a mix of private money and hard money. And if you don't know what either of those are, let me give you a brief rundown on each. Hard money is simply a type of lender that lends for properties that need fixing up. So these are for the fix and flip properties or properties that you couldn't otherwise get with a conventional lender. Hard money lenders have shorter term loans like 6 to 12 months. They have higher interest rates, but they can get deals done when other lenders can't. Private money, in a nutshell, is just money from an individual or someone that you know who's willing to lend you money who is not specifically a lender. They're not like a bank, or they're not a hard money lender, they're not a conventional lender, they're just a person or an individual. And in order to use none of my own money in deals, I often use both. I often utilize something called gap lending. Gap lending combines the use of hard money lending with private money lending, and it combines the both so that you can buy deals with none of your own money. Let me give you a quick example. Let's say you find a home and the purchase price is $100,000. That's what you're gonna be buying the home for. Then let's say you find a hard money lender, and that lender says they want to lend you 90% of the purchase price. So they're willing to lend you $90,000 out of the $100,000 purchase price. That means you have $10,000 left for the down payment specifically. You're also gonna have some closing costs, but for simplicity, I'm just gonna say we have $10,000 for the down payment left. For the $10,000 that you have left for the down payment, you can do one of two things. You can either provide the money yourself for the down payment, $10,000 out of your own bank account to bring the down payment for that home, or you can raise money from a private money lender, an individual, and ask them for $10,000 so that you can use their money for the down payment and you can come $0 out of pocket. This strategy is ideal for anyone who has none of their own money, or if they just want to keep more of their own money in their bank account for other expenses. And I use this strategy a lot, so now I don't even have to use any of my own money for deals because I use a combination of hard money and private money using gap lending. Let me give you an example of a recent home I just bought. I found a home and the purchase price was around $150,000. The hard money lender was giving me 90% of the purchase price, and I had to come up with a 10% down payment. Using the information I just explained to you, I could have just raised the money for the down payment so that I could buy the home with none of my own money. But I went a step further. In this case, the down payment was around $15,000 because it was 10% of the purchase price. So instead of just raising $15,000 for the down payment from a private money lender, I raised $15,000 for the down payment. I raised $3,000 for the closing cost, and I raised about $32,000 for the rehab. In total, I raised $50,000 from an individual, my gap lender, also a private money lender. So now I had the money for not only the down payment and the closing costs to buy the home, but I had funds for the rehab to fix up the home without any of my own money. Now that you know what gap lending is, here's what the process looks like. And keep in mind, the process is going to look different for everyone. Here's just the process that I've been using myself. The first thing that happens when I get a new deal under contract, I go to my hard money lender and I wanna make sure that they can approve the loan for that deal. So I have them underwrite the deal, meaning they're gonna look at all the specifics of the home and the information as far as the rehab goes, and they're gonna tell me, hey, we can give you a loan on this, or we can't give you a loan on this. So I go to my hard money lender first. Once they give me the thumbs up on the home, meaning that they now can lend me money to buy the home, that's when I start looking for the private money lender. Often I'm going to be working with my hard money lender and seeking a private money lender at the same time. So I'd be looking for hard money and I'd be looking for private money for the gap at the same time. But for simplicity, let's say the hard money lender already approves the loan, and now I just need to find a gap lender. And honestly, how I've personally found all my gap lenders are from social media. On social media, I'm consistently telling people that I'm flipping these houses, I'm wholesaling houses, I'm doing all this work so that I'm constantly top of mind as a real estate investor in other people's eyes. And when the time comes when I need anything, for example, if I need private money for the gap, I can go to my social media, I can ask who wants to invest with me on a deal, and a lot of people will jump at it. Now, you might not be in this position because maybe you're not posting as much as I am, but I just wanted to share you that's what's been working for me, and I highly encourage you to utilize social media so that you can ask for stuff like this. But once I find that one private money lender that's willing to lend to me on the Gap, here's what I do next. All I do is draft a promissory note. Now, this is simply a document in writing that states that I will be paying this private money lender back once the deal finishes and once I've sold the home, according to whatever we agree upon. When dealing with private money lenders who are going to be lending for the Gap, the amount that you're going to be paying them depends on your relationship and what you two negotiate, so it's completely negotiable. In the past, I've provided my Gap lenders just a % interest rate that's annualized. And what that means in a nutshell is this. Let's say that private money lender gives you $100,000 to invest in, and for simplicity terms, let's say that interest rate that you're going to be providing them is 10%. And that 10% is annualized, meaning if it took you exactly 1 year to flip the property, then you would have to pay 10% of that $100,000 to your private money lender. 10% of that $100,000 is $10,000. So you'd pay them $10,000 at the end of the year when it's time to pay them. But that's only if it took you an exact year to flip the property. If it took less, then you're gonna be paying them less interest based on that annualized rate of 10%. So for example, if it took you 6 months to flip the home instead of that 12 months, instead of paying them $10,000 of interest, you'll pay them $5,000. Half of that. So how long you hold on to the property determines how much interest you're going to be paying that hard money lender if you choose to provide an annualized interest rate. I even know some friends of mine who do flat interest rates with their Gap lenders, meaning it doesn't even matter how long you hold on to the property, they will be getting that % return no matter what. So for that same example, if you had $100,000 of a loan amount that the private money lender gave to you, and you promised them a 10% flat rate, no matter how long it took. Even if it took 6 months, they still get $10,000. Even if it took 3 months, you're still paying them $10,000. So that's how a flat rate works versus an annualized interest rate, and I want you to understand the difference. The other way you can pay a Gap lender is using an equity split. And if you don't know what an equity split is, all it means is that you split the profit with them in whatever proportions that you negotiate. And I wouldn't really suggest for you to do an equity split if you're only raising money for the Gap. So if you're only raising money from someone for the down payment or the closing cost or the rehab, or all three of those, I wouldn't suggest an equity split. I'm just sharing this option with you to keep in the back of your head if you ever get a private money lender who wants to do an equity split if they're going to be lending on the Gap, and that's your last resort. I just want you to know that it's possible. And also, you have to realize as far as the process goes for Gap lending, you're not gonna know every single piece as you go through it. You're gonna learn as you go, and that's normal, and don't be afraid to just jump into it without knowing every little step. It's okay to not know everything. The next thing I wanna talk about is how do you raise private money for Gap lending? The biggest tip I have for you about raising private money is to not worry about it until you have a deal. Utilizing a private money lender only works and benefits you if you have an actual deal to apply the money to. If you don't have a deal, then the private money is useless. So if you're brand new to real estate investing and you've never done a deal, focus on finding the deal first and then use everything I'm sharing with you in this video to raise private money. But don't worry too much about private money just yet. Once you find the deal, the money will come. Trust me. But let's say that now you found a deal. How do you raise the money now? Any potential private money lender is going to be thinking in their heads two things. They're going to be thinking, why should I trust you? And they're also going to be thinking, what can you do for me? As far as building trust with a potential lender, it really comes down to a couple things. Number one is how confident you actually are when speaking to them. If your communication is poor and you can't convince them that it's a good deal for them to give you money, no one is going to give you money. You have to work on your pitch. So practice your pitch. The second thing I want to talk about when it comes to trust is your overall reputation. If you are known to be someone who is consistent and follows through with their word and has a good overall reputation, it's more likely for someone to give you money for the Gap. Because whether you realize it or not, you have a reputation. When someone thinks of your name, you have a personal brand. They think of something. Now, if you don't know what that something is, you have to work on developing your personal brand. And I highly suggest for you to do so utilizing social media. Even if you're brand new and you've never done a deal yet, start posting about your journey, letting people know that you're committed to this process of becoming a real estate investor. Let people know what coaching programs you're in so that you can show them that you're really committed to this process. Leverage anything you possibly can. You can even tell people, look, I watch a lot of videos of this guy named Justin You're Wrong on YouTube, and he teaches us how to do these things step by step. So I have good coaches, I have good mentors, and I am self-educating constantly. Use these things to develop trust in potential lenders. And when it comes to addressing the other question of what you can do for that potential lender, figure out what that potential lender wants. And you do this by asking them questions. Ask what they want as far as returns. I would say that most of them just want a % return on their money. Others might want an equity split. So you just have to be asking these questions as far as what they want, and you have to explain to them confidently that you can return their money with those returns. I also want to caution you when speaking to these potential gap lenders. So when you're raising money for the gap, for the down payment, closing costs, or the rehab, or a combination of the three, make sure that that potential lender understands the risk associated with that. When someone lends you money to be the gap lender, they are the second position loan. Here's what that means. If you were ever to not perform on that deal, and maybe you did not pay the interest payments or you ran out of money or for whatever reason, the hard money lender is the first position loan. So if you ever defaulted or did not perform, the hard money lender will take the home. They will foreclose on you and get the home. The second position loan, the gap lender, they get nothing. So there's a very real downside, and that's why it's extremely important for you to build the trust and show them that you can actually give them a return on their money. And what I will also say about raising private money for a gap is don't be too greedy. Just get the deal done. As long as the numbers make sense overall, accept it. Get the deal done, especially if you're on your first deal. Because I would rather split an entire watermelon with someone than have an entire grape to myself. Don't be greedy, get the deal done. Also, if you want to grow your real estate business, whether you're brand new or if you already have deals under your belt, DM me the word coach on Instagram at Justin You're Wrong. I'll see you at the next one.